Patrick?
Some big windows behind you. Looks like Pat left.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Um, so there's a good amount to talk about. I did send in the chat, or Slack rather, a couple things for just various items that we need people's help for, and I'll mention it here quickly. But I kind of want to parse through some of the outstanding bugs, and it'll be good when Patrick comes back too, to especially for some of these. So let me get started just so we don't delay here, and once he comes back, I'll circle back to some of the stuff that I wanted to get some of his feedback on. Actually, I'm going to skip over some stuff that I wanted to be here on. So the first couple ones, let's skip over. Let's go right down to it doesn't work for the new router. Has anyone tried this out yet? So this is issue 410. I have not had a chance to use the new router yet.
I tried it out. I mean, it didn't work, but I didn't get to look into it yet.
Okay, so we don't know exactly what the issues are here. All right, we'll circle back to this once Patrick comes back on. Let me just. Okay, so I'm going to jump around a little bit, so not go strictly from the order of the spreadsheet here. But John and I, well, John mostly, has been working on refactoring Freeboot to support multi-apps. It's coming along well. I didn't check, John, your most recent update yet, but I'll do that this weekend. And basically, I think it's close enough, like that we could say by next week we'll get that in. And then the next step after that is going through and actually doing another round of refactoring to make it actually like small and production ready, so that it's only like 5K or whatever. So that is coming down the road. With docs, Patrick, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Ah, great. Okay.
I have to go in Safari.
Okay. Yeah.
Always Safari.
Yeah, Safari is terrible except for this for some reason.
Safari only works in Hangouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing with the docs, I sort of mentioned this online, but I have been stuck with some stuff at work, so I just haven't had I need like a dedicated hour. That's it, just to get the most recent updates from Wrangle up and running for like the universal.angular.io.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we'll be able to do it the next couple of days, but if somebody does have time, I can kind of direct you of how to help us do that. I mean, basically the work that needs to be done here is Wrangle has like a template of, they have a GitHub repo that, and you basically just download that and use Firebase deployment from command line to deploy to, that's what is hosting the microsites. Mm-hmm. And so you essentially just have to set it up so that the current content, which is on an older, hacked together initial static HTML version, you just have to copy over the HTML to this new template, deploy it, and then just let it probably write down a couple steps of okay, anybody who wants to add documentation, these are the steps. That's basically the task. So
okay.
Anyway.
I can look at this one.
Okay, I can send you the links to the Git repo then, Wasim, and
yeah, sure.
And everything after this, and then you should. Okay, great.
Yeah, I think we should
make a note.
Side.
Okay, let's circle back to the top. Patrick, you saw the thing from Jeff Cross about the template URL that he
Yeah, he's
Want
saying
to make
that's
that a
like,
priority. So
yeah,
do,
that's
do we
like
need
top priority.
Do we need Misco's help for this, or is this something that we can do?
So I was thinking that we probably need to patch a few things in Zone.js, and then that will most likely fix the problem. But I could probably just do investigative work to actually really determine what exactly it is.
Okay, so we still need to sort that out. That's fine. But maybe you'll have this at the top of your priority list then?
Yeah, that's the top one because like now that the mobile kit depends on Universal, everyone's trying to pre-render and everything, and it's like blowing up. So
Yep. Yeah, so jumping, again, I'm going to jump all over the place a little bit today, just because there's been a lot going on. So I'm going to jump actually down to the CLI thing, 260. We did have the meeting, and Mike's on the call here too. So yesterday we met and talked about it, and the basic update is we laid out, 3 tasks essentially that need to be done to get going on this. The first of which being to just like define what we want the folder and file layout to be for the initial scaffolding. So one guy who wasn't able to make this meeting, Johannes, who is on the CLI call, he has done other CLI work, and so he and I are just going to bounce back and forth some ideas, and then once we have something, we'll post it to the Universal Slack of, and basically the idea is that we want this to be like the de facto way that like we want people to structure the code in their Universal apps, right? So I imagine.
CLI will help out a lot because we could probably generate like a basic Universal service that has everything wired up. Then it's easier for people to kind of figure out like what logic should live where.
Yep.
Are you looking at creating that off of a base CLI generated project?
Well, initially I was going to not, like we talked about yesterday, we weren't going to actually change anything in the CLI. We were just going to define what we, in an ideal world, would like to happen.
Agreed,
And
but if you're creating a real world example, it would be helpful if you did that directly off of a project or a folder structure that was scaffolded up via the CLI.
Yeah. I see what you're saying there. Yes.
Okay.
Agreed. Yep.
And then we also have the system issues to deal with.
Yes.
Which I don't know.
So that's the second thing. So Patrick, the this where is this?
Okay,
so
System.js support.
283, yeah. So this is a bigger issue now because
Yeah.
CLI uses system. We sort of have to.
So why don't we move that one and the template URL as the next like top priority?
Yep.
Like those two things needs to be done, and then we can just lower everything else.
Yep.
Change it to high to highest. We'll just create a new priority.
All right.
Or very high. or critically high.
Okay.
Or super high.
And I believe part of this is just getting system to work with Node, right?
Yeah, all it is just getting system to work with Node, and I think like we have to make sure that it's loaded after the polyfills.
Yep.
Patrick, we also need to get System.js work with Java, with PHP, with all the other platforms too.
But it's the same thing where you have to have the polyfills.
Yes.
You have to basically create the environment in whatever runtime it is, polyfill it, then include System.js, and then from there run your code.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's go back to those are the two important ones that I wanted to make sure we covered before anything else. But so now let me jump back to the top, which is an issue that just came in yesterday. Patrick, I don't know if you got a chance to see this with Express Engine renders only the first visited route if template doesn't change. I'm not quite sure what he's talking about here, but
This is the optimization of holding the platform injector and reusing or creating the application injector and whatnot. So yeah, this is like a problem that surfaced because of the recent RC changes. So we still have some technical debt from the RC push.
So you're saying that the dependencies should be at the platform level, but they're at the application level, or vice versa?
No, this is just a problem with how we're managing the providers, I think.
Oh, within Universal, you're saying?
Yeah, so I'm determining. Yeah, so I think I have an idea of what it should be, and yeah, if you just put that on the next one, that's like really easy to do.
All right. Recreate the Parse 5 adapter. What was the deal here?
Recreate it because it's outdated, and since the modules are separated, we could technically recreate it, and then eventually, when we start publishing to Angular Official, we could just like update the current one.
Okay. Well, this seems like one that anybody from the community can grab, right? Because it doesn't.
Yeah.
I would imagine. Okay.
Yeah.
So Mark, maybe I don't know if you.
It's not a high priority. It's like a medium.
Oh, actually, yeah, that's true. Yeah. This
I mean, there's
one-
a ton of performance boosts just by updating.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
that's a good one for someone to actually take over for sure.
I could try.
Yeah, all you need to do is just update to the latest Parse 5, fix the imports, and then make sure that any of the breaking changes are correct. So, like, if you go to the Parse 5 repo and look at the breaking changes between like 1 and 2, which I complained to them that it's not very clear in some places. But if you could just do that, it's a good way to kind of figure out what exactly is going on in Universal. Because Parse 5, what we're doing is we're creating JSON objects from it, and then that JSON object represents the DOM, right, or the DOM node. So just updating the API and looking into that will help you understand what's going on. So
Nice.
it's
So
a good
we're
time.
using version 1 and there's 2 out there, I guess?
Yep, pretty much.
Okay. Sure. Sounds painful.
It's a good kind of pain.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Item 412. It's saying that host properties are not working when you're setting ng-animate class as a host attribute.
So I know what this is. I just need to know what method it is, because the animation, whatever is happening in the renderer, is trying to invoke some sort of animation inside of the DOM adapter, which is not implemented, and then it throws that error, and for some reason it doesn't say what exactly wasn't implemented.
Basically, you just need to recreate this or capture it somehow so you can figure out the method that needs to be
Yeah.
implemented.
Pretty much, just run the node inspector and then tell it to basically stop when there's error, if you can, because sometimes the process crashes and then you don't see anything. And then you just go down the stack trace to figure out like what exactly is triggering it, and then from there, that's like we can figure out a way to fix that, to mock it.
Yeah. So for this one, let's try to at least initially solicit the user's help in debugging this, since they have it on their machine instead of trying to recreate it, and see if they can. That'll make it easier. So I can post something to them to.
I mean, I think recreating it is just like the whatever animation. If they could just do a starter, replicating that, then anyone else could jump in and kind of debug it. So that I think if they could do that, that would be helpful.
Okay. Do you know the status of the new router, the 410?
Oh God.
I know they have a ton of other issues. So like, is this one of these things we just kind of wait it out until they update some stuff in core?
I mean, I can tell you what really is going on, but you guys have to keep it under wraps. This will be exclusive to Universal users.
Wait, hold on a second.